Hey guys, Sean here, Mr. Morris Mushrooms. I haven't done an update on I call it my farm room, in a while, and thought I'd kind of clue you guys in. I think my style is going to be unedited. Maybe once I make it big time, I'll make fancy reels and clickbait stuff. But my motive here is just to be transparent with you for how a small farm can function. So I'm in my farm room here. I recently changed my farming method to use these straw logs. So I got these poly bags that I stuff full of straw, and then I inoculate it with grain spawn. That's my go-to method for farming oyster mushrooms. So I bought all this racking, and I can double stack 8 bags per layer in here, and I got 5 racks, so I could put 80 bags here. And this is the staging area for it. Because I have limited space, I got this large room. Usually I don't have normal light. And it's very cramped, but I'm doing what I can. Normally I just have red light in here. I put the light bulb on the lamp over there so I don't look like I'm in like a dungeon. So I will inoculate the bags, let them fully colonize. I put slits in the bags so that the mycelium can breathe, and eventually the mushroom can fruit out of the slits. I keep track of species and dates. A lot of my dates are based off of spawn inoculation date. And over here, I put up some shelving. This is where all my spawn bags will colonize. This is where I'm going to keep my cultures. So I mainly use a light malt extract culture. Seems to be a good, simple, and effective way to create liquid culture. So I use mason jars to do that, and I use these petri dishes with an agar mixture to grow out the spawn. The mycelium on the dishes. And it's key to keep your cultures fresh. So I mean this video to be kind of a medium detail. I could really go down some rabbit trails and explain in detail stuff, but I'm not going to. But I also use slants. Okay, that's a slant. A tray is slants. That helps maintain long-term longevity of the different culture. So over here I got my processing table, the laminar flow hood, heat sealer, scale. This is where my big old all-American crock pot stays. And I got a cooktop there. Over here I got a little miniature dishwasher. And I got a sink right here. Part of, because I make a tincture, you have to have licensing for that, and there's certain constraints to being licensed for processed foods. So I had to meet certain obligations with that. Over here, I have where I make my tincture. I have a vacuum pump that's specifically designed to work with a rotovap. This is a rotovap. Another rabbit trail I could go down. That's a sock slit. There's also a water cooler under here that keeps the water nice and cool. Obviously. This is my freeze dryer. That is my heat sealer for my poly bags and other stuff. I got some glassware back here. Over here is kind of general storage. I have all kinds of supplies, packing material. I staged some of the mushrooms up here, and my arm's getting tired. Up top here, I have a industrial air cleaner and a little heater. The air cleaner in general is just meant to keep this room nice and fresh and clean and circulated. Mycelium wants to have some airflow, but when it's sitting here in these bags, you don't want it to be exposed to too much light or too much humidity, otherwise it'll start wanting to fruit too soon. Back here, I don't think you can see it okay, is where I store a lot of my finished products. So these bins are all labeled with the different types of products I have, and they stay here. In the very back there is where I keep all my substrates and grain. Putting them in 5-gallon buckets helps me keep a decent eye on the quantity I'm at, and if I'm getting low, I can just count how many are in a stack of the different material. Way back there in the corner is where my air conditioner for the grow tent stays, and I actually just upgraded my system. I'm pretty excited about it. I'll take you in the fruiting chamber now, but I got a AC Infinity setup. It's usually used for growing cannabis, but I don't do that. I don't roll that way. So this is my fruiting tent. Once the mushrooms start pinning or are close to pinning, I bring them in here and I hang them on these racks. I maintain the temperature in here around 65 degrees, and I maintain a high humidity, so around 85 to 90% humidity. That's my humidifier going off. Up here is where the air conditioned air comes in, and this new system I got is heating and cooling. That was one thing I really am excited about, because I noticed some of my oysters are really affected by temperature fluctuations, so the coloring or growth rate, and this will now maintain a consistent temperature, which is just awesome. One thing that you have to consider about setting up a grow tent is good circulation. I have a circulation fan above the door, and I have things arranged so that the air can mix quite well. If you don't do that, you could end up with like a pool on the bottom of your tent or pockets of dead air. Over here is my lion's mane. I got all these racks set up for lion's mane, and then like top fruiters like the Black Pearl King. I am going to start growing reishi and then eventually turkey tail. Now here's a nice beautiful mature mushroom. So you can see right here, I believe this is blue oyster. It's started to pin out. Up here is a beautiful pink oyster. I can't see what the camera's looking at, but hopefully you can see it. It's just gorgeous. And I do have a mixed species tent, which isn't ideal. Ideally, I would be putting the pink and the golden and other more tropical strains of oyster together and separate them from others. But I am a very small farm, and I'm just trying to work with the space that I have, and so it is somewhat cramped. But here's some more mushrooms, my pinks. Pink is a very aggressive mushroom, and it's pretty forgiving as well. I think here's some more blue starting to pin, and I also have constant exhaust coming out of this tent. One thing you need to be mindful of is maintaining negative pressure. So I make sure that there's always negative pressure in this tent. Let's see, what else? Lighting. So ideal lighting for mushrooms, they mainly like to grow off of a blue light spectrum. And this is 6,500 Kelvin. And these are waterproof rope lights. And they're all connected to the same system, this AC Infinity system. Right here's the controller, but that links up to an app, and they have this neat new AI controller that will handle everything based on AI, or you can customize it on how you want it to work. But I think it's doing a good job. I mean, it's keeping things nice and consistent. Anyways, that's my medium info video. Eventually I'll get into the weeds with you guys, but I hope you're well. Stay blessed.